Kids are now getting YouTube access at school, or kids can access Discord at school, and they are encountering predators, they are encountering violent videos, spam, self-harm, you name it, it's available.
Hi, everybody. It's Cynthia, the founder of ScreenLessPlayMore.com. Welcome to the Screen Less, Play More podcast. I have a quick little bonus episode here with Emily Cherkin, who is known as the Screen Time Consultant. She has been in the news a lot recently. A couple of weeks ago, she was testifying in front of the Senate about EdTech and its harms. You can check her out on Substack under First Fish Chronicles. She uses that name because fish go all in one direction for a long time, but it takes only a couple of fish to break away from the school, and then the entire school of fish changes direction, and it takes only a couple. So stay strong, and if you're fighting this in your own schools or your own school districts, just keep going for it because it's only going to take a few fish to turn this tide. Emily has some great things to say in this episode about the state of kids getting out of college that have been using screens a lot and what's happening with them, as well as her lawsuit against PowerSchool, which is one of the apps that a lot of school districts use. So please make sure to press follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're using to listen to this podcast. That makes sure that you will get all of the new episodes funneled right to you as soon as they are published. And it also helps other people find us more easily. So let's dive into my conversation with Emily Cherkin.
I spoke to a woman last week who is the head of a very top engineering firm in America. And she said that they get students from top engineering schools. And these are young adults entering the workforce. And she said they're excellent at their skills, whatever they do as engineers. They have zero human skills. She's like, they cannot look in my eye. They cannot communicate. They cannot function as humans. And I want to just point out, we're talking about 20 to 25-year-olds. And 20 to 25-year-olds had relatively analog childhoods. They may have had television more than we did. They did not. The iPhone is like 15 years old, 16 years old.
Right.
No, 18 years old. But the iPad's like 11 years old. I mean, it's ridiculous when you think about, I may have those years wrong.
But it changed them even just in 4, 5, 6 years.
Exactly. And the thing we forget is that even if the iPad is 14 years old, it wasn't given to children the first 4 years. Like, kids were not using it. And in a decade, we've gone from adults having iPads to kindergartners having iPads all day long for school. So it's like we have seen a huge shift in just 5 to 10 years. And of course, people blame the pandemic and lockdown and remote learning. The problem was here before. That just added fuel to the fire. That just accelerated, and in a good way, I think, pulled back the curtain, exposing a lot of stuff that maybe we weren't aware of. But clawing back from that is going to be very difficult. And it is very difficult, but it matters. I do really believe we're fighting for our kids' future cognitive, mental, physical, and emotional health when we limit and talk about this and model and, advocate for less screen time at school.
Well, and even on a way deeper level, I feel like I've heard you say things about this actually affects democracy.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Raising kids that are just going to follow anything they see and just be, plenty in the hands of these social media influencers or whatever, we got to remind them to think for themselves. Or not even remind them, show them, teach them.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that keeps me up at night. What is truth in the era of deep fakes? What is truth in the era of ChatGPT that makes things up when it doesn't know? And even adults have trouble discerning, right? I mean, think about mis and disinformation on social media, how hard that is for adults to recognize it. Children's brains are not fully developed. They lack the ability to understand the difference, the nuance. I think of even, this was over 10 years ago, and I was trying to teach my daughter about marketing and messaging and advertisements, how they try to get you to buy things. And so I was trying to give this example. We were in the grocery store, and it was when Frozen had come out, the movie. and there was a picture of Elsa on a cereal box.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, what does Elsa have to do with the cereal? Trying to help her see that they were using Elsa to get kids to buy this cereal. And she was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we were in another aisle and she points to a box of tea. And the tea had a dragon on it. And she goes, what does a dragon have to do with tea? And I was like, oh my gosh, I saw the difference that it was this brand partnership, but the
Right.
dragon was just the logo of the tea company, but she was right. And so we have to think about how we help our kids understand that. And it's hard because it isn't
Yeah.
obvious. It's something we've had to learn.
Well, and noticing things that are hidden. My boys, one of the things they do like to do when they have their screen time, they love to watch Mr. Beast on YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
And he drives me crazy, but I'm like, fine, you guys are the exact audience that he's going for. And he has this chocolate bar that he has created. And so at one point in the middle of their video that they're watching, he's like, and I want to let you guys know about my blah, 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 blah. And I said, there's an ad. And my little boy was like, that's not an ad. And I was like, I know it doesn't look like a usual ad, but that's an ad. He's talking about his product in the middle of his video so that you have to pay attention to it. And to him, it was like, what are you talking about? That's not an ad.
An excellent example. And that is why media literacy skills have to be part of our parenting and, I would argue, part of our school educational system as well. And not old school media literacy, and not media literacy that is a curriculum written by a tech company. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to take smoking advice from Philip Morris. Like, this is, like health advice. I mean, yeah. So this is really tricky because as adults, it requires us to get pretty cynical. I shouldn't even say cynical because I get cynical sometimes, but to be critical, I always say, follow the money. Like if there's a company that's funding a media literacy program, but they take money from Meta, I'm sorry, they're not going to teach you skills that actually matter because it's going to be about how to use it. And one of the red flags for me is anytime there is a media literacy curriculum that requires a computer to teach it, it's not a media literacy program because you can teach all of these skills outside of a computer. You do not need, and if you need to model an example, that's what a teacher's for. That's what the whiteboard or a video up in front of the class is for. You do not need to give kids internet connected devices to teach them media literacy. That is crazy to me. And yet that's become very normalized that's just how we convey information now, right, is through a screen. But there's ample evidence that is not how it works best for adults too.
Yeah. What is the brief summary of the lawsuit that you have against PowerSchool?
Yeah, so in May of 24, we filed a class action lawsuit against PowerSchool, which is a $6 billion EdTech company owned by Bain Capital that oversees products like they have other lots of sub-products, including Schoology, which is a very common learning management system used by over 90% of students in America, and a platform called Naviance, which is like a college and career readiness platform. The lawsuit itself is about data privacy. So we're alleging that they collect information about children without informing parents fully of what's being collected and that they sell that data back to either ad tech companies or repackage it and create advertising profiles. So it's a tip of an iceberg, and they are by no means the only company that does this. So you can actually go to the EdTech Law Center is the law firm that I'm working with, and I've been friends with them for many years. They're wonderful people, and there are class actions out against IXL, Seesaw. I'm trying to remember what else is out there, but if you can go and look at their active cases and you'll see, and if you're interested or you're curious, they will talk to you, walk you through it. They don't charge you to work with them. It's a, contingency-based law firm, I think is what it's called. So it's like you just go and you share what's going on. And, we're hearing the problem is now that it's not just about data privacy. There's now direct harm to children coming from use of EdTech products. So again, you imagine, I would say EdTech's just big tech in a sweater vest. Like, kids are now getting YouTube access at school, or kids can access Discord at school, and they are encountering predators. They are encountering violent videos. They are encountering spam, self-harm, you name it.
Well, and I'm so glad that people like you are fighting this fight, because I don't want to have to just pull my kids out of school. I don't want to be forced to go to a private school. If it's bad for my kids, it's bad for everybody's kids.
100%. And That's a really important message too, is that we're doing this for all kids. It's not just my kid. I mean, it is. That's where we start, but it's bad for all kids. And you're right about, we don't want to I believe firmly in public education. I don't want to undermine it. And private schools have their own challenges with this. Like some of them are doing a great job because they see that public schools are fleeing, like people are fleeing. But I would not paint it with all one brush either. There are some public schools that are doing a much better job than some private schools and vice versa. So if we can affect change in our own backyards first, all of politics is local. So it's just starting where you can, asking questions, and going up to the people who have power, who make the decisions, whether that's the school board or the administration. And, don't take no for an answer. Don't take, well, we can consent on your behalf. No, that's not okay. And you don't consent, right? It's not informed consent. So yeah, I mean, have courage. This stuff is hard. It's scary. It's confusing, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't get out of bed if I didn't believe that this mattered.
So much great info. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to my conversation with Emily Cherkin. She has a great book that I highly recommend called The Screen Time Solution. And you can also, again, find more of her work on Substack under the First Fish Chronicles. And you can get more information about parenting in the digital age and book recommendations and how to reduce screen time and how to increase play at screenlessplaymore.com or my Substack, Screen Less Play More. I'd like to thank Neil Penninger, who composed our theme music, and WJD, who does our IT.